Hello and welcome to your Angel's Cup copying flight from the last week of September. I have coffees 6061 all the way through 6064 that I've just poured over, and I'm going to be tasting them back to back to back. I'm going to be looking at acidity, sweetness, body, aftertaste, and kind of give you my impressions, and we'll see how those compare to the tasting notes that came with the flight. So first off, we have 6061. All right, so this coffee, I'm getting some mild acidity, and I'm not getting that much sweetness. It's definitely a little, for me, a little bit more dominant on the acidity side. The body feels a little delicate to me, and the aftertaste actually, for me, is the most interesting part. I feel as though I'm getting maybe some like dried orange peel. So I'm getting some acidity, but not quite as sharp acidity as I might have with like a lemon or something like that. And maybe, let's try again. Yeah, there's definitely something that develops over time in the aftertaste for me in this coffee. So let's see what it is. I think for me, it very much reminds me of some sort of dried citrusy fruit. So let's see. All right, so this coffee is from Case Coffee. It's a Kenyan. It's washed, and their dominant flavors are grapefruit, prune, and challah bread. So there's the like acidity, dried fruitness maybe. They say this is a very bright, nice, stewy Kenyan. We haven't been seeing many of these. Flavors are a mix of grapefruit, prunes, and challah bread. The body is syrupy. Towards the aftertaste, we're getting a bit of barbecue sauce. Yeah, there's something really interesting going on in this aftertaste. Like even now, I feel like it's becoming kind of more smoky for me. So definitely a very intense cup. So let me do a little rinse out here. All right, let's try the next one. This one definitely is a little bit more balanced for me between the acidity and the sweetness. I'm definitely getting a little bit more of a kind of roasted nuts, which I associate with a kind of roastier sweetness. I'm not getting as much acidity as I did in the first cup, and the body seems a bit kind of medium bodied for me. The aftertaste is kind of still developing a little bit. The aftertaste is a little bit sweeter for me, so that the roasted nuts become a little bit more kind of marzipan. So let's see what they say. All right, this is from the same roaster. This is Case Coffee again. This is a Guatemalan washed, and they say that they're getting hard cider or kind of beer hops. So maybe that's like kind of like roasty nuttiness that I'm getting, but theirs might be a little bit more on the grain side. It says it's another bright coffee. Maybe some lime or citrus. The sweetness reminds us of a dry hopped beer. And they say that they feel like it's kind of unusual for something at this elevation, which is 1600, to feel as bright as this. And I wouldn't say I have enough experience to know that, but interesting. All right, so coffee number 3. A little rinse out here. All right. So this coffee definitely seems to be a little bit more of a milder coffee. I'm getting a lot less acidity, a little bit more kind of vanilla. The body seems kind of delicate to me, and the aftertaste isn't really quite as long and complex as the last two coffees. But I'm getting a lot more of the vanilla. So let's see what they say. This is from 1000 Faces Coffee. It's from Mexico. I didn't think that was going on. And they said that they're getting blueberry chocolate vanilla, and that's unusual for Mexican coffee to have this kind of subtle sweet berry and acidity. And they would expect more of a vanilla flavored profile with some nuttiness. They also mentioned that it wasn't quite as intense as the others. All right. So let's do a little rinse out. All right, and our final coffee. This coffee also to me seems a bit more balanced and less intense than the coffees that were earlier in the cupping flight. I'm getting a lot more kind of roastiness in this, and it is kind of reminding me of some like roasted grains, and it seems to be a little bit less fruity to me than the other coffees, and I'm getting some kind of roastedness. I can't say that it's like nuts. It's not quite that sweet. It's sort of more on the grain side, and the body seems to me to be a little bit more delicate. So let's see. This is from Higher Grounds Coffee. It's Hondurans, and they're getting berry and bubblegum. So they say that the flavor starts with a not quite berry flavor that tastes like bubblegum, and that this is a honey process, so it's difficult to figure out, and that they're getting some dry feeling at the end, with a kind of moderate sweetness. So, all right. So of these coffees, definitely I feel like the early one was really kind of strange and interesting. So the one by Case Coffee, the Kenyan, yeah, is super layered in a lot of different ways and very strange. So for me, I definitely would kind of, that would be my slow coffee, my exploratory coffee. But if I wanted a coffee that was just kind of like a kind of everyday coffee that still was really good, I think I might go with this 1000 Faces Mexican coffee. Because it seems like it still has a little bit of interesting things going on, but not something that it takes you quite as long to process as this first Kenyan coffee from Case Coffee. So that is the cupping flight from Angel's Cup. And I'm gonna, if you're interested in this video, subscribe, like, and I'm also going to include below a link to a little handy handout that I often give out on the coffee tours around New York, to help people to sort of get some language around acidity, sweetness, body, aftertaste, in case that would be interesting to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next cupping flight.